like the waves of the sea and the winds that blow, that come and go. Just as a serious march announces in his poem Vele's events, life moves along paths that take us away or bring us closer, and that return us to the essence of what we are and where we are from. Holy Week Saguntina is the festival par excellence of Sagunto, the ancient Morvedre. Everyone does it to be there, to participate, to return home, to undo the paths they once took. Just 25 kilometers from Valencia, Sagunto is the goal of the penultimate stage of the Holy Grail, and therefore the starting point of the last one, which concludes in the Cathedral of Valencia, where the most legendary relic of humanity is kept. To talk about Sagunto is to talk about la sang, the blood, about Holy Week Saguntina, about its unique brotherhood that from generation to generation has preserved the tradition of celebrating Holy Week, whose epicenter is the hermitage of la sang. Around Holy Week, or La Festa, as this celebration is known in Sagunto, emotions and perceptions are experienced through different organised events. The commitment, responsibility and emotion of Fer La Festa, for the majority in charge of organising it, is a task expected for many years. During the celebrations, almost everything is shared in Sagunto and is celebrated at both the table and in the street. Just before Lent, from Sant Antoni, here Sant Antoni del Porquet, until Ash Wednesday. The Sagunto ovens make a traditional snack for everyone to enjoy every Thursday. The pataquetes, as they are called, are breads filled with beans and sausage, ratatouille and tortillas of all kinds, giving rise to the tradition of the Jus de Berenard, or Snack Thursday. Once Lent has arrived, on Friday, the commandment of abstinence from eating meat is fulfilled, which is why baked rice with cod pot, with chard or a plate of stew are other typical dishes of the city. And let's not forget about the shimos, those fried breads with tomato, pine nuts, tuna, pepper, which are a typical delight of Good Friday in Sagunto, along with the meatballs and cod fritters that are never missing from the table on those days. And not only are flavours part of the cultural element of Holy Week in Sagunto, but also living and feeling it. The freshness of the morning, the feel of the velvet of the belts, the smell of petrichor in the early hours of Good Friday, the incense that anticipates the passage of Vera Cruz, the stepping on the myrtle. On Sunday, bouquets, the sounds of bells, rattles, bugles, drums, spears, shouts of Deus Plegadores, the processional images. On a Friday, the movement of people through the streets of the old town. All these elements are part of the perceptive and emotional landscape so alive in Sagunto during Holy Week Saguntina. If Holy Week Saguntina has a specific physical place, it is, without a doubt, the old town of Sagunto that surrounds its headquarters, the hermitage of La Sang. This hermitage was built between 1601 and 1607 as the headquarters of the Puríssima sang de Nostre Senyor Jesus Christ Brotherhood, which, until this time, was located in the old synagogue of the Jewish quarter. Its importance lies in being the first Tridentine religious construction in the region, serving as a temple model for the parishes that from the end of the 16th century and during the 18th century would be built in other towns encamped in Morvedre. For this reason, La Sang is not just any hermitage, it is a special temple due to its careful construction, which includes a Latin cross plan, more typical of parish temples or larger sanctuaries. Dome that rises above the transept, tinted blue on the outside, and inside its frescoes in its pendentives, as well as its ovals in the transept, are painted by one of the most important painters of an academic Baroque painting of the late 18th century, José Vergara. For all these reasons, La Sagne responds to the characteristics of a classic Baroque temple. La Sagne, and in addition to being the nerve centre of Holy Week and Sagunto, has the function of housing and guarding the images of this brotherhood. The origin and destination of the Holy Week Saguntino processions. It preserves all the images that parade during Holy Week Saguntino. Among all the images, the Cristo de la Sagne is worth highlighting for its importance and treasures in this hermitage. It's a carving from the 15th century that comes from the municipal cemetery and seems to come from the old medieval hospital of Nan Marquena. An excellent piece of international Gothic with details of the blood spilled from the side and the pain expressed on the face, marking the beginnings of humanism in Valencian Gothic imagery. The other great treasure is the Vera Cruz, the main passage that closes the procession and which preserves in its silver reliquary the lignum crucis, a splinter of the true cross of Christ. Around this image, a relic, the entire cultural and cult structure that sustains the tradition is organized. For this reason, it is venerated in a special chapel, the Treasure Chapel, right next to the main altar to dignify the relic it contains and, in addition, preserve the privacy of the devotee who wants to approach it. In this chapel, it is, therefore, the sanctum of La Festa. From its origin, in the 14th century, the celebrations took place during the Easter Triduum. Currently, the celebrations are extended to the whole week, starting with the Friday of Sorrows and the imposition of medals on the new brothers and on the incoming mayoral and clavario. On Saturday, the eve of Palm Sunday, the Passion en Vue has been performed since 2004, staging the Passion, Death and Resurrection of Jesus Christ in two settings, the main square and El Calvario. On Palm Sunday, we attend the massive procession of Bureta, the entrance of the Palms, and the proclamation of Holy Week Saguntina. Holy Monday is the meeting between Nazarene and Soledad. Holy Wednesday is the procession of silence. On Holy Thursday, the streets are filled with bands of bugles and worshippers visiting the monuments that have been installed in the churches. Good Friday at dawn, El Calvario, is one of the biggest and emblematic events of this Holy Week. In the afternoon, the auction of steps at the door of the hermitage, and at the same time the disenchantment ceremony is held in Santa Maria. In La Trinidad, where the old convent was located, the roll call of the Brotherhood takes place. This is where, in ancient times, penitents prepared to mortify their flesh. Upon reaching La Sagne, the procession of the Holy Burial begins with all the steps, presiding and closing it. The Vera Cruz is carried by the Calvario and Mayorales. Being a Calvario and Mayoral is a privilege. They are in charge of enforcing tradition and organizing Holy Week in Sagunto. For years, groups of young people prepare to fulfill what mana la tradición, to have the party, which is a conclusion and reward for their organization, and it is a great honor to carry the Vera Cruz through the streets of Sagunto. Holy Week in Sagunto has the colour black and a passion, blood. All the brothers dress in the rigorous mourning as established by the statuettes, with a black vest, a handmade tunic that consists of two joined bodies, one tight to the trunk, and a skirt with pleats down to the ankles, with a tail of 3 or 4 meters with quite exemplary penitential symbolism, dragging the faults or sins of the disciplinarians, now penitents. Along with the vesta, other obligatory elements are the black gloves, the identification medal of brotherhood, mayoral or clavario, and the belt, generally made of leather with a silver buckle with iconography of Vera Cruz with a hanging shroud. For many years, velvet belts embroidered with gold and silk have been made with the obligation to maintain the buckle with the Vera Cruz. Hanging from the belts, the rosary is another obligatory and handmade piece. Handmade from mother of pearl with gold or silver crosses, many of them are made in workshops in the city. Completing the brother's clothing, the hood hides the face of the brother penitent in the Good Friday procession, the only piece that with the tail is used in the Holy Burial or Carmelite procession. So called because in some sections of the parade, candy or sweets are given to those who ask for it. Everything has a meaning and is duly marked in this ancient tradition of Fer la Festa, which year after year everyone waits for in Sagunto, and which ends when the Vera Cruz, at the hands of the Clavario, returns to La Sang, closing the procession of the Holy Burial, and everyone, kneeling on the ground as they pass, worship this holy cross, the living treasure of Sagunto, because where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Matthew 6:21.